The village of Simpa sat under the eerie glow of the moon, its people gathered around a crackling fire, faces drawn with fear. The wind howled through the trees, carrying whispers of something dark approaching. Nana Kofi, the village chief, stroked his grey beard, his voice a heavy weight against the silence. "My people, the oracle has spoken. Death will come for one of us before the next moon rises." A murmur rippled through the crowd. The villagers exchanged nervous glances, dread settling deep in their bones. None dared to challenge fate except one. Kwame stepped forward, the fire casting flickering shadows over his strong frame. His voice was firm, unwavering. "If death comes for us, then I shall fight it." Gasps filled the air. No one had ever dared utter such words. Elder Akoto, his wrinkled face carved with wisdom, shook his head. "Kwame, death is not a man you can fight with a sword. It is a force that no one escapes." "Then let me be the first." Kwame's eyes burned with determination. Dawn arrived in muted grays, the village drenched in an uneasy silence. Kwame knelt before his mother, Ya, who cupped his face with trembling hands. "My son, I raised you to be brave, but this fight is beyond bravery. Do not go." Kwame's resolve never wavered. "Mother, if I do nothing, we will all live in fear. I must go." He grasped his father's ancient sword and turned toward the dark forest, his fate sealed. As he walked, the villagers whispered among themselves. What if he fails? What if he never returns? The doubts weighed heavy, but deep in their hearts, they also hoped that Kwame might accomplish what no man had done before. The forest loomed before him, its twisted trees whispering secrets. Every step felt like a descent into something beyond human comprehension. He had barely begun his journey when he reached a fork in the path. There, hunched on a rock, sat an old woman stirring a bubbling pot, her eyes glinting like distant stars. "Brave warrior, where do you go with such fire in your heart?" Her voice was thin but laced with something ancient and knowing. "I seek death, to fight him and save my people." The old woman chuckled, a dry, brittle sound. "To defeat death, you must find his heart. It lies beyond the river of no return, guarded by 3 trials. Then I will face them all." She handed him a small calabash of water. "Take this. You will need it." Kwame continued his path, the darkness thickening around him like a living thing. Soon, he entered a cavernous opening where echoes bounced unnaturally. He heard whispers, faint at first, then rising to a sinister chorus. "Turn back. You are not strong enough. You will fail." Sweat dripped from his brow. "I am not afraid," he bellowed. From the darkness, a monstrous figure emerged, its body woven from the very shadows that clung to the cave. Kwame swung his sword, but the blade passed through it, useless. Panic clawed at him. Then, he remembered the old woman's words. He uncorked the calabash. A brilliant light erupted, burning away the darkness. The whispers ceased. The monster shrieked before dissolving into nothingness. Kwame moved forward, deeper into the forest, where he encountered strange sights, trees that whispered in forgotten tongues, rivers that ran upward, and creatures with glowing eyes that watched from the shadows but dared not approach. The path led to an old rope bridge, swaying over a bottomless pit. A lone figure stood at the middle. Kwame's heart pounded. It was his father, Nana Osei, clad in his warrior's robes. "My son, come with me. Let go of this foolish quest." Kwame's grip tightened on his sword. His father had died years ago. Yet, here he stood. "You are not real," Kwame whispered. "My father would want me to fight for my people." The figure's face twisted into something monstrous. A scream pierced the air as it vanished, leaving behind nothing but the wind. Kwame crossed the bridge, each step heavier than the last. As he reached the other side, the sky cracked with a deep, guttural sound. The bridge behind him vanished as if it had never been there. There was no turning back. Beyond the bridge lay a golden chest, its glow unnatural. As Kwame reached for it, the sky darkened. A monstrous being, half man, half bird, descended, its talons gleaming like sharpened steel. Only the worthy can claim Death's heart, it declared. Are you worthy? Kwame's breath came fast. Test me, and I shall prove it. The battle was brutal. Kwame dodged and struck with all his might, but the guardian was relentless. Blood trickled down his arm. His strength waned. Then, he remembered the calabash. With a final desperate move, he flung the remaining water at the guardian. It screamed, its foam dissolving into mist. Kwame opened the chest. Inside, pulsing like a living thing, was Death's heart. He could feel its dark energy, like an invisible weight pressing against his chest. His fingers trembled as he grabbed it. What have I done? He whispered. The ground beneath him shook. He had taken Death's very essence. The sky swirled, and a chilling wind howled through the land. He had angered Death itself. Kwame returned to the village, the sky an unnatural shade of grey. He had barely stepped onto familiar soil when a hooded figure materialized before him. Death. You dare steal from me? Its voice was the sound of crumbling earth. Return my heart. Kwame stood firm. Not until you leave my people alone. Death lunged. Without its heart, it was weak. Kwame dodged, gripping his sword with both hands. The ground trembled beneath them. The battle was unlike any he had fought before. Shadows clawed at him, an icy grip tightened around his chest. Summoning his last ounce of strength, Kwame raised his sword. You have taken enough lives. No more. With a final strike, he shattered Death's heart. A deafening roar filled the air as Death collapsed into dust, vanishing with the wind. As the first rays of dawn bathed the village in gold, the people rejoiced. Nana Kofi placed a firm hand on Kwame's shoulder. You have done the impossible. You have saved us all. Kwame looked at the horizon, knowing he had defied the fate all men feared. The children chanted his name. A new legend had been born, Kwame, the warrior who fought Death and won. And though peace returned, Kwame knew that Death was never truly defeated, only delayed. One day, it would come again. But until then, the village would live without fear. And so, the legend of Kwame, the warrior who defied Death, lives on, told from generation to generation, a tale of courage, fate, and the unbreakable spirit of a true hero. But this is just one of the many incredible stories hidden within the heart of Africa. Here on Legends and Myths of Africa, we bring you the most thrilling, mysterious, and awe-inspiring folktales from the rich cultures of our land. If you love stories of bravery, wisdom, and magic, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an adventure. If this story captivated you, hit the like button, share it with friends and family, and let's keep Africa's legendary tales alive for the world to hear. What would you do if you had to fight Death itself? Let us know in the comments.